Today, I'm excited to welcome Anja Schuetz, founder of Bitvocation, an online organization that helps people find meaningful work in Bitcoin. Welcome to the Bitcoin Edge, Anja.
Thank you, Paula. It's really nice to be here.
It's really nice to meet you. Tell us a little bit about yourself before we get to Bitcoin. Where are you? What are you
Oh,
doing?
where am I? Okay, I am right now in Bulgaria. It's starting to get dark here, so let's see how the lighting will be. Yeah, I'm a digital nomad. I have a sort of a base in Bulgaria in a tiny town called Bansko, which is known in the nomad world. And it's where I always come down. It's my sanctuary between all the travel. Yeah.
So, do you speak Bulgarian living there?
Just hello and thank you. And I
Wonderful.
never thought, I've been here for almost 4 years. I never thought I would stay. So by now I should speak more of the local language. But yeah, being a nomad, I always think I'm going to leave. But yeah, I should do better with the language and integrate a little bit more. Yeah.
Well, you're originally from Germany, right? So you speak German, English, and maybe
Yeah.
other languages. Yeah.
And I'm actually from East Germany, so I'm from the generation that still had learned Russian in school, so that makes it easier for me to at least be able to read because they have the same letters here, the Cyrillic alphabet in Bulgaria. So that's helping me a little bit with reading the menu, ordering food in restaurants.
Well, good. So, how coming from East Germany, how did you discover Bitcoin?
Yeah, so I spent half of my life abroad, actually. Thank God the wall came down before I was grown up and had to live like confined and trapped in a country. So I was able to travel and everything, and I left very early and spent really half of my life abroad. I had a whole corporate career abroad in the Netherlands, actually, in the corporate fashion world. And so my background is in operations management and customer support. And yeah, and at some point I decided to I missed my culture, so I decided to move back to Germany, I think in 2015 or so. And yeah, I moved to Berlin, which was the only city that I could imagine living, because Berlin is not German at all. Some people don't even speak German there. And that was also the point, because it was such a big change in my life back then. Now I just keep traveling from country to country, but back then I just moved everything, and I took stock of my finances. And I was like, okay, I had a job, I had a business, and I was like, okay, am I going to find a job here, or am I going to restart my business? How important is it that I make money fast? So I took stock of all my finances. And as a German, even though I lived abroad, but with the German imprint, we are raised to be savers. We are not raised to be investors. And so I was a responsible German. I had saved for my pension plan and everything, all the things you're supposed to do. And when I took stock of my finances, I just realized that this doesn't work anymore. It just doesn't get you anywhere. Your wealth doesn't grow in the bank. You don't get interest on your pension, on your savings anymore. The pension plan that I had made or put in place like 10 years earlier, it hadn't gone anywhere. So I realized I have a problem that needs solving. And so I realized I have to become an investor. I have to change my mindset to an investor mindset. And so I took a course. I enrolled in an investment and trading course, like traditional stocks and commodities and stuff. And that is where I heard about Bitcoin for the second time. I had heard about Bitcoin 2 years earlier in 2013, but I forgot about it the moment I heard about it, like many of us, because it had nothing to do with me. And then in that course, since I was so focused on money and making my wealth grow, I paid more attention. And so it was actually another student in the course who asked about Bitcoin, and the trainer completely warned him, said, "Don't touch it, it's too volatile, yada, yada, yada." And I thought, hey, I heard about this before. What is this Bitcoin thing? So with this new mindset and problem solving desire, I looked into Bitcoin again, and yeah, the rest is history, because Bitcoin felt so much, how can I put it? Everything I learned in that course taught me about how, not only how to trade and investment strategies and whatever, that was all really useful, but I also learned about how our money system works. And that just made me sick to my stomach in some cases. And also I just couldn't put my money in the system. Like I couldn't, all the things that we learned in the course, I just couldn't put my, it was almost wasted money for me, that course, because yeah, I learned all the strategies, but I just didn't want to support that system with my money. When you put your money in something, you support it with your energy, and I just couldn't do this. So thankfully I heard about Bitcoin at the same time, studied this, and that was so easy for me to put my money in. It just felt much better. And yeah, in the end, I've told the story many times. In the end, I got kicked out of that course because I took the Bitcoin. But by then
So
I had learned everything I needed to know.
it's unusual that a course actually teaches you about money. I understand it teaches you about investing and a little bit of Bitcoin, but you somehow realized there was something wrong with our system and our money from that course. Or did you then go on to read the Bitcoin Standard or things like that?
I think it's just something, you pick up things in a course, and certain things you don't understand. And maybe the course content doesn't teach you that, but then you do start doing your own research. I think this is how things happened. Like, for example, when I learned about shorting, I didn't know about the concept of shorting. I didn't know you could bet on a falling price of an asset and make a profit. So that just didn't compute. So that's why I started researching, like, how does this work? Where do people lend the money from in order to short it? And just it's a rabbit hole. And this is how this all happened. And I watched, I mean, thank God for YouTube. Everything is on YouTube. So many documentaries that really, yeah, explain how our money system works. And that's what I spent over a year doing. I mean, I'm still learning, but back then I just dove in 100%, and learned about all of this. Yeah, and the result was Bitcoin. I mean, thank God. As I was discovering the problem, I also discovered the solution.
It's wonderful how that works. Do you still invest in the stock market or it's all Bitcoin now?
I never have. Because I couldn't. Yeah, I learned. I'm very grateful for the things I learned, like the support and resistance and Fibonacci and all of these trading things. I love numbers. I love charts and data. This really, I understood this very fast. The problem was that it was the wrong channel to invest this energy in. But I've been using it for Bitcoin in the beginning, and I dabbled a little bit, of course, also in crypto. Now I don't do any of that anymore. I save in Bitcoin. I don't invest in Bitcoin. And yeah, I don't do all the other coins anymore. But we all have our shitcoin phase.
Mm.
And I'm happy for
Yes.
it. It's good to, we can learn by contrast, by seeing what's not good or doesn't work, to bring us back to what matters. Yeah.
It's part of the journey, right? I mean,
Yeah.
kind of what I'm hearing for you. I also came because I realized my finances weren't in order. So many of us come for number go up, but stay for the other reasons.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I
exactly.
saw on your website you talk about being a conscious investor. How did that
Yes.
come into it? Did you realize that mindset is important too?
Oh, absolutely. And when you refer to my website, you're referring to my old website, I think. So last year I started Bitvocation, which we can talk about in a second, which is solely Bitcoin focused. But I've been in the space since 2015 or something. And in 2017, I started teaching others conscious crypto, I called it back then, because 2017 was the last big hype, or maybe the first big hype, or the biggest at that time. Everybody and their mother was getting into crypto and wanted to get rich. And I just thought this was very dangerous for most people, you know. And so that's why I called it conscious crypto, not only because the people I wanted to attract were all the conscious spiritual, like counselors, healers, therapists, this kind of crowd. They were my favorite people, to many women also, but also because you need to do this consciously. Nothing to do with spirituality, but you should know what you're doing, you know. And everybody back then was just sending Coinbase affiliate links to each other, and they didn't take the time to even explain to people what's a custodial exchange, what is a non-custodial wallet or a self-custodial wallet, and what are private keys, and how do you not lose your money. So I think there's a whole generation of people from 2017 who joined the hype and maybe have lost everything in the meantime, because they lost interest a year later when the prices went down, and forgot where their keys were. Or that's why I called it conscious crypto, so that people pay more attention to what they're doing. Yeah, but I've left this. The website still exists, because there is like a, I still get people, mainly women, asking me, "Oh, how do I learn about Bitcoin?" I'm like, just sign up on that website. You will get 7 days of like bite-sized information. It's all from 2017, but it's still valid. So I'm just keeping this up, but I'm concentrating on solely on Bitvocation now. Yeah.
And I want to talk about that in a minute. Just one more question about the conscious part, because I also went on Fountain and I saw you had a meditation on abundance. And what a wonderful meditation. And the reason I'm
Oh,
asking is because before I found Bitcoin, I grew up in Africa, quite privileged. However, I grew up in a family where I heard money doesn't grow on trees and being poor is more humble. So I got this mindset maybe I shouldn't have because other people don't. And I had to change that mindset even before I came to Bitcoin. So is that what that meditation is about?
yeah. So a long time before, so I have had several lives or careers. And before I got into Bitcoin, I had a phase where I was very much in the self-development world. I was a coach myself. I worked for spiritual teachers in the background as their operations person. So I was very much in that world. And I'm still personally in that world, but not professionally anymore. But yeah, I worked with a lot of women on their money mindset before I even heard about Bitcoin, because that is really something that, yeah, especially like the conscious or spiritual crowd has, but also many women, because historically, I don't even want to get into it. I don't need to explain this to women, they will understand. But a lot of women, we have to work on our relationship with money, because yeah, like I said, in Germany we are raised to be savers. In other cultures we have other imprints or other conditioning, and a lot is attached to our self-worth. And that's also something that I really don't like about this whole industry, because also as a solopreneur, I hung out with a lot of coaches online, or like other solopreneur women, and they are all being taught, oh, charge your worth. And it's, so the money is, the self-worth is so attached to how much you charge. And I don't believe in all of this bullshit. I think value and like beauty is in the eye of the beholder. That's so, and the customer decides how much your product is worth. It has nothing to do with your self-worth. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent, but that meditation that you're referring to is really nice that you found this. This is from that time. It's actually inspired by one of my coaches from back then, Robert Holden. I don't know if you heard of him. He's quite known in the UK. And he's been my teacher, coach, mentor for several years. And he inspired that. And I just put it because I used to work for Fountain, for the Fountain app, setting up their customer support in the background. So, of course, I had to test the app also. And I had to put something because I'm not a podcaster. So I had to put some file on there just to see how it all works, to get to know it so I could support the customers better. And I just pulled up this old meditation and left it there. But it's nice that you found it. Yeah, I really like it. And I actually sometimes I listen to it myself because I also need to hear these things sometimes. Yeah.
It's reprogramming the mind, and old programming takes a long, long time. So I really appreciate that. And I think some people might find that very useful because you might be getting into taking care of your finances and Bitcoin comes up, but you first have to believe you deserve it and you have to have a good relationship with money to get there. So that's very useful. So, yes, your main focus now is Bitvocation. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so Bitvocation started last year. So we are now in 2024. And like I said, I had a detour through crypto in my personal life, but also in my professional life. So I worked for Web3 companies. I'm not someone who believes that every project that's not Bitcoin is a scam. So I've worked for some really good projects. Whether they succeed long term is another question, but they are really hardworking teams who believe in what they are building. But for myself, last year I decided, like, I'm a Bitcoiner, I've always been a Bitcoiner, and I don't want to be like 50% in Bitcoin and 50% in Web3. I just want to be 100% in Bitcoin also in my professional life. And I was looking for a way to serve the Bitcoin community. So I went to the conference in Prague in June with the intention to figure out how to serve the Bitcoin community. Because even though I was a Bitcoiner, I was never part of the community. Like on Twitter, I was only consuming, I was hardly posting. I went to a couple of meetups in Berlin, something, but never to a conference or something really to connect with the community. So yeah, and I went there and I met lots of people and they all approached me and said, "You work in Bitcoin and wow, I want to do that too. How can I do this? I don't even know where to start," and yada, yada. So I was like, this is how I can be of service. I know how to do this. And plus, I was also in the same position because I was looking for a job in Bitcoin. And all my offers came from the Web3 world. And I was like, no, universe, I want Bitcoin. So I started just to research, how does it work? Where are the Bitcoin job boards? Are there recruiters? How do you find a job purely in Bitcoin without all the Web3 and crypto noise? And yeah, there was one job board, the Bitcoiner jobs. And that was it. And lots of crypto job boards. And then you, of course, you have LinkedIn, everything. And so I researched everything and I realized, wow, looking for a job in Bitcoin is a job in itself. It takes a lot of work. And being German, I'm like, there needs to be a more efficient way to do this. So, and so luckily in this tiny town in Bansko in Bulgaria, where I am right now, there are a lot of other digital nomads who are all tinkering online, software developers and all sorts of people. So I just asked around because I thought it would be nice if I would just get all the jobs delivered to me. Like, why, instead of me searching everywhere, they should come to me. And so I was thinking it would be nice to have like a bot that scrapes the internet and posts everything in a Telegram feed or sends it to me in some way. So I thought Telegram is probably the best way because Bitcoiners, well, I didn't think of the Bitcoiners yet back then. I just thought of myself. I wanted to have a efficient way to do it. Yeah, and I found a guy who was like, "Oh, I'm teaching myself how to build this right now, and I'm looking for a project." And so, yeah, win-win. So he built this Telegram bot, and yeah, so that happened. That was in August or September last year. And then once it was there, I was like, "Wow, if I like this, there are probably tons of other people who this could be useful for. So, and this is how the Bitvocation feed started, which is our Telegram channel, where basically every Bitcoin job seeker can subscribe for free and just see all the latest Bitcoin jobs in existence. So in the beginning, we were only scraping Bitcoiner jobs.com and also some crypto job boards just for the keyword Bitcoin, because our feed is supposed to be clean, Bitcoin only, no crypto, no blockchain, no Web3, nothing. um, and so that's how we started. And in the meantime, now we added tons of Bitcoin companies, like we scrape their careers pages directly. So even if they don't post on job boards, it will still show up in our feed. So by now, we are actually now I think the biggest job board. It's not a job board, it's a job feed. But if you only check bitcoinerjobs.com, you only see like 25 or 30% of all the Bitcoin jobs that are out there. So we try to capture everything on Telegram. Yeah, so that's how it started. Now, in the meantime, I have attracted more people to my team, and we have, through all of this scraping of of these job listings, we have tons of data also that nobody else has. So we published our first Bitcoin job market data report last week or 2 weeks ago. So that's going to be a monthly thing now, because many people think they have to be developers in order to work in Bitcoin. So we can prove now that that is not true. It's like 50-50 right now, 50% developer jobs and 50% non-dev jobs, all sorts of other. So whoever is watching, you don't have to be a developer to work on Bitcoin. You can be in marketing and customer service, HR, finance, like everything. I always say all the jobs that you are used to from the fiat world exist in Bitcoin too, except for the job of central banker, of course. But every other job you will find as well. It is a bit skewed. Like during bear markets, you will find more dev jobs, and during bull markets, then when teams have more money, they have enough funds also to hire all the other jobs. Yeah, so that's where we are. That's how it started. And yeah, we're cooking up a lot in the background to be of service to job seekers, but also to employers, of course, because we want both parties to find each other. So what bothers me most is when Bitcoin companies have to look outside of the Bitcoin community to fill their roles, because I'm sure we have talented people inside the Bitcoin community. So my mission is to help both parties find each other. Yeah. And also, since I am a service person, I really want to be of service to the job seekers, because with traditional recruit, so I don't see myself as a recruiter, more as a connector to bring both parties together. But with traditional recruitment firms, their customers are the employers and the job seekers are the product that they are selling. I want the job seekers feel like the customers that we are serving. Yeah, because they need to be treated with respect, and I don't want them to feel like a product. So that is also really, really important to me. Yeah.
And on this Telegram group, would the employers know that the people are coming from you?
That's something that we're working on. So right now, so the first year now, we have done this mostly as a proof of concept. Like I needed to test if anybody is actually interested in that. I think we've proven that now. And most of the companies don't even know that we're scraping them. So that is something now we're going to start to reach out. And so I have started to talk to employers to also understand them. What do they need? What solutions would they love to see? And of course, we also need to begin monetizing now and putting some products together. So we have lots of systems in the background to see how many clicks does a job get. Also for us to see which ones are the most popular jobs that just get more clicks than others, or maybe companies. So it's fascinating data in the background. Yeah, so we are every day, basically, we are coming up with new things to make all of this more efficient and also more valuable for both sides, for the job seekers and the employers. Yeah.
And are you finding that a lot more and more people want to work in Bitcoin because of their passion for it?
I think so. I don't think we have captured them all yet in the Telegram, because we have like 870 subscribers at the moment. I think there are way more than that, but we are not that known yet. But from my experience at conferences, at meetups, definitely, yeah. Because I think there's also a general desire in amongst the population to do meaningful work and to have more freedom, like to have time freedom to decide when you work and to do something meaningful. That is two characteristics that you get in Bitcoin, because most of the jobs are remote, so you're the owner of your own time and place. And well, if you believe in Bitcoin and you work in Bitcoin, then you're doing meaningful work. So, and I think that is a desire anyway of the younger generations. While in the past, security was more important for the older generations, now freedom is taking over. Freedom is more important. And people are also ready to accept a little less money and not sell out just for a high paying job, and just they prefer to do meaningful work. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a wonderful shift. I had Jeff Booth on, and he talks about moving more of your time to Bitcoin. So I
Mm,
see a lot of people in that position, even like myself, wanting meaningful work, also wanting to spend more time in the Bitcoin world,
yeah.
because that's the world I want to see. I want to see a
Yeah.
fairer, more equally distributed world where we all have equal opportunity. And
Yeah.
so this is a wonderful idea. And do you notice any difference between men and women in this area?
I think women are just, okay, also speaking for myself, but speaking with other women, we need to become more visible. Many women think they don't have anything valuable to say. They think they don't know enough about Bitcoin, or I think also in general in any subject, but especially now in our industry. And I was exactly the same. But I've decided nobody is an expert at Bitcoin. We can all pick our niche, like in the niche that I picked, or my little pocket of the Bitcoin community where I want to be of service. I don't need to understand every single technical detail of Bitcoin. The people who are developers who are building on that's their pocket of the community where they are of value. And I noticed, I've been speaking at the conference. There were two women and like 30 or 40 male speakers, attendance, same. It's always like 4 or 5% are women. But the thing is, we are there. We all know other women in Bitcoin, but most women don't dare to be visible and appear on podcasts. And I was just last week or 2 weeks ago on another podcast, Robin Sayers podcast, and he said, "Yeah, I'm inviting women. I'm making a conscious effort to have more women on my channel, but I often get rejections because they say, 'Oh, I don't know what to talk about.'" Even though he's showing interest and saying, "I think you are interesting and you have something to say." But I can relate to that. I'm the same. I'm an introvert. I'm shy, or I have been. But when something really bothers me, like it bothers me that there are not more women in Bitcoin, then I'm like, okay, I have to be more visible so that other women can see me and all the other visible women and see, oh, well, if she's there, then maybe this is also something for me. Yeah, because women, we need to see other women who are like us talking about a subject in a way that we can understand. I'm like, I have to be brave, I have to be visible so that other women can see me and dare to be more active and visible in the space.
I agree. I think it's wonderful that you're doing this, a woman's doing this, and the same with me. It took me years to start this because I also thought I don't know enough.
Yeah.
But then I realized I know a lot more than most of my friends and most of my family, and just having that little bit of extra time and knowledge is worth it. Also, there are other people out there doing the same thing and looking for meaningful work. So
Yeah.
being willing to put yourself out there and
Yeah.
move forward. Yeah.
And you only need to know a little bit more than the people that you're trying to serve. As
Yeah.
long as you know more than them and you can add value to them, that's all. You don't need to compare yourself to your peers or to Jeff Booth or Jack Mallers or whoever
Yeah.
we look up to. So yeah, no,
Yeah, exactly. And everyone gets the message different from each person, right? Yeah, and we need
absolutely,
to hear it many times sometimes. So
exactly.
I like to
And
talk to regular people and those people. They're wonderful too. Do you think people still come into the space for number go up at
oh,
first?
I'm sure, and I don't have any judgments about that.
Yeah.
I don't care for what reason someone becomes interested in Bitcoin. As long as they hear about it, they take it seriously or they look into it. And like most of us, I mean, for me, I wanted to save my pension. That is and it's still Bitcoin is like ever since, what did I say, 2015, 16 or something. No, I bought, so I started studying 2015. I started studying Bitcoin, but I actually bought my first Bitcoin on the 3rd of January 2017. So, but since then, I've only been putting money in. I never took money out. I will not take it out until my pension. That was the reason back then for me to put money into Bitcoin, and it's still the reason. But of course, I am by now way more interested in. So there's Bitcoin with a small b and Bitcoin with a capital B. So I came to Bitcoin with a small b, but now I'm interested in the capital B, the Bitcoin network, the censorship freedom, all the other stuff that will save humanity and keep us free in a digital world and not make us go in the direction of central bank digital currencies. That's why I'm still here. And that's why I want to help people find work in this space, because the more people are building this thing, the more successful it will become. So, yeah, but I'm still holding Bitcoin for my pension. Yeah, that will not change.
So you don't at the moment use Bitcoin as a payments network.
I do. It's like when you have savings or you invest in gold, you have something for the future and to preserve or grow your wealth, but then you also use money to spend. So I do have a Lightning wallet with some cash where, like, right now I have to buy everyone in my team a t-shirt so they can go to conferences all over the world and wear the Bitvocation t-shirt. So these little things, yeah, I have spending money for that.
I hear what you're saying. Yes. So you put a certain amount that savings that stays there, but at the same time, you're using Bitcoin where you can with funds.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's wonderful. That's what I try to do too. Do you think that the rest of the world, well, we still don't have high adoption, but do you see many people, for example, in Bulgaria, are there a lot more people using Bitcoin now?
In my little town here, actually, there are restaurants that accept Bitcoin. I think Bulgaria in general, because Bulgaria is a very, how can I put it? They have a very special mentality or personality, very like resistant. And I think the Bulgarian personality is very open to Bitcoin. But I forgot your question. Ask me again because I had.
And do you think, do you see more and more people using it and open to it? Like in Bulgaria, is there inflation? And that's what they would see. Oh, the inflation.
Bulgaria, not so much inflation because the Bulgarian leva is pegged to the euro. So, okay, well, the euro inflation, of course, affects the leva as well. But they will adopt the euro, I think, next year, something. So then, if the same thing happened that happened when we went from the German Deutschmark to the euro and everything got twice as expensive, well, Yeah, but we already have so much inflation in the world that will then just be the like another thing. It's just, I think the whole world is just growing more and more disturbed, which is good. People need to get disturbed in order to be motivated to look into solutions. And so that was your question that I forgot.
Yes. Mhm.
um, yeah, so I think there will if the world keeps going the way it is and the money printing continues and the overreach in terms of controlling people continues, yes, because at the same time, like if we talk about spiritual forces, this is what's happening right now. Like the traditional values and control is clashing with the new desire for freedom, self-direction, and self-determination. So yeah, this is clashing and has been clashing for a few years. But all the spiritual teachers and astrologers that I'm listening to are saying that this time the people will win. It's about the power of the people versus the power over people. And for like during COVID, or we have seen how the power over people was more. But the power of the people is now growing. And of course, Bitcoin is a large part of that, or maybe the tool for the people to accomplish that. I mean, we call it the money of the people. So yeah, I'm very hopeful. I'm very hopeful. Everybody will look into Bitcoin whenever they are motivated to do so. So that's why I'm always saying I don't believe in orange pilling. I'm not going around preaching about Bitcoin. I will tell everyone who comes to me and wants to know about it, of course, but I'm not going to get on people's nerves who are not ready to hear it. But yeah, everyone in their own time, something has to happen in our lives that makes us look for a solution. And in some countries there are big problems that make the whole population look for a solution, and then maybe each individual will have events in their life, like for me, when I took stock of my finances and realized I have a pension problem. Everyone will have their own moment that makes them look into a solution.
Yeah, I agree. And what makes it so nice now is it's not just the third world countries that are struggling. Yes, their inflation is worse and they're more likely to use Bitcoin as a payments because they need the solution now. But
Yeah,
even our first world countries are seeing the greater and greater impacts on our own savings. Yeah. So
yeah,
it's
and that's
nice to
what.
see, and I agree. It's so hopeful. Bitcoin is the answer, but everyone gets there at their own time. And
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that people thought, even just a few years ago, that this is all far away in other countries, in Venezuela, Lebanon, or wherever. But it's here now. It's in everyone's country. And so that's why Bitcoin is not. I don't know if this narrative is still out there because I'm too much in our bubble, but that people still think it's only for speculation and getting rich and whatever. This is like, yeah, a Western privilege. But there used to be this narrative, like only put into Bitcoin what you can afford to lose. Well, it's not like that anymore. And I think people are realizing that. And most of us who have completely flipped to the other side, we are like, don't keep more in fiat than you can afford to lose.
I love
So,
that
yeah,
reminder. It is
progressing.
important to understand the cycle. I mean, that might change, we know, but just for new people coming in, I put in at the top of the cycle in 2017 and crashed down. It was a big shock.
Yeah,
But it is important to understand that there is a cycle, and to learn about Bitcoin and the halving, just so
yeah,
you understand where it's coming from.
yeah.
The Bitcoin itself is sound, but it takes time for adoption.
Yeah, exactly. But everyone, including you are in profit now. If you bought at the top in 2017. So, yeah.
Yeah. And I also went through the other the altcoin because
Mm,
I was just trying to increase my wealth, right? So, and I can see the benefits. I can see the benefit of some of those. But when I speak to Jeff Booth, he says that in the long run, they cannot exist together because
hmm
the altcoins are built on that other system. That is a
Hmm.
fiat system. So that's the problem. They can always centralize at some point.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
I don't know.
I,
I'm not saying they're
I
not
don't
good
know.
projects. I am not good
Yeah.
with technology. They look good to me, but I can see what he's saying, that Bitcoin is based on 21 million only, and those other altcoins are on the fiat system.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I don't know too much about this either, and but I differentiate between the builders and the gamblers or investors. I think everyone who invests in crypto is a fiat person. They just want to increase their fiat wealth at the end. But the people who are building in the Web3 space, yeah, I think they are a little bit different. And even if their purpose is just to find out, wow, we could build this better on big Bitcoin. But since they are able to print their own money by just creating a blockchain and having an ICO or whatever, they can fund themselves and do all of this innovation. And that, I think, okay, there are different ways to look at it. But in Bitcoin, we cannot just print our own money. So many intelligent, smart teams don't have enough funds to hire other smart people or whoever they need. I'm running into the same problem right now. So I think this all has a purpose, the whole Web3 space. And yeah, maybe they find out, oh, Ethereum is shit. We can do all of this on Bitcoin. But maybe Bitcoin is not ready for it yet, or we have not discovered yet how we can do this on Bitcoin. So, and but by the time we do, then it's good that all of these teams had money to do all this innovation and discovery outside of Bitcoin, and now they can bring all this knowledge into the Bitcoin space. So if it exists, there must be a reason for it. So yeah,
I
we'll
agree.
find
I
out.
agree. Exactly. Everyone has their own path, and I really like the Bitcoiners who not shouting at or telling everybody else they're wrong. It's just a peaceful movement to the Bitcoin space when you see it's right for you.
Exactly. And it's like a live and let live.
Yeah.
I mean, who are we to tell what anybody should do? You know, let them
Yeah.
find out, let them be on their path. And I mean, so many Bitcoiners have had their shitcoin phase or whatever, but it just makes sometimes we have to learn by contrast. Yeah, we have to figure out or see it for ourselves. Oh, this doesn't work, or this looks good for 4 years and then it vaporizes. So they come back to the Bitcoin space with even more conviction. So if that's what it takes, why not? You know.
Exactly. Well, that's a wonderful, positive place to end. Tell us, is there anything besides Bitcoin and besides Bitvocation that you're passionate about?
Right now, no. No,
Wonderful.
actually,
You're
yes.
focused.
Yes, I am focused, but also my team that I have right now. So, I mean, I had this idea last year, but in the meantime, I have attracted a bunch of other people who believe in my idea as much as I do. And that is wonderful because for them, it's also because nobody gets paid right now. Bitvocation has made, oh, we made 57 euros last Friday. Our first income. Yay.
Wonderful.
Um, so for the last year, it's been a passion project of mine, but I have now officially elevated it to Bitcoin startup. Just mindset wise, also, I'm like, we're going to make money from now on, and I don't care how little, but we're going to monetize now. And yeah, I'm so grateful for my team. So that is my other passion, my team and working with my team. Yeah, because I love managing a team also. I have done this years ago in the corporate world, but of course this setting right now is completely different because everybody is there because they want to. They all have day jobs. So they work in it's like a passion or a hobby for them. Maybe they have dull day jobs and then they get to work with me in Bitvocation and brainstorm and how can we create this and be of service and yada yada yada. It's amazing. So I cannot wait to be able to pay my team. So that is my main motivation also right now to monetize. Yeah.
Well, you've done the proof of work, seeing how everything works, and I see it going very well for you. And
Yeah.
I really appreciate you being on the show today. Tell us where people can find you and Bitvocation.
Thank you. Yeah, I think the best way is to look up the Bitvocation feed on Telegram. It's really easy to find. We also have a website coming. It's bitvocation.com. Right now, it links to different. Some people still see the old website. So we have a Substack. It should link to Substack. So you can also just type bitvocation.substack.com. And any job seeker, if you subscribe there, you can get you get a free guide like how to find your first job in Bitcoin, because that's what we're all about. And yeah, then we can take it from there.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Paula. It was really nice to meet you.